First this morning, Australians woke to that shocking news that someone they care for and have learned from had been assassinated. Now, there would have been hundreds of thousands of people here, tens of millions in the United States. Like many of you, I too am mourning the loss of the extraordinary Charlie Kirk. Since 2012, he's built up a global following, challenging the left on the campus. His Instagram posts routinely get more than 1 million views. One post alone amassed 47 million views. He had 5 million followers on X or Twitter. From the age of around 19, he'd been going onto university campuses to debate all comers on everything contentious, but he was especially strong on Christian values and American patriotism. He was famous for the table that he'd set up on campus, which he would then sit behind and invite students, typically wanting his ideological opponents to prove him wrong. Ask me anything, he said. There he'd sit, Daniel in the lion's den, so to speak, engaging in a respectful and often pretty humorous dialogue to unpack the difference between reason and groupthink. Charlie Kirk was the co-founder, as I said, of Turning Point USA, a not-for-profit organisation that he set up to advocate for conservative politics on high school, college and university campuses. He wasn't one to sit by and decry the fact that our kids are lacking an understanding of what the centre-right stands for, or to complain about the left-wing indoctrination so rife in education. He strove to be part of a movement of change, to reverse this decline and help teach our young people how to disagree intelligently and civilly. Until the haters took his life. Yesterday, US time, on the campus of Utah Valley University, as he was addressing some 3,000 students. The Charlie Kirk was felled by a single shot as he argued for free speech, big ideas and freedom. Says everything about the sort of Western world we now live in. Earlier, there'd been a petition from 1,000 students seeking to have him barred from the campus, but the university, to its credit, had affirmed its commitment to free speech, intellectual inquiry and constructive dialogue. And now he's been killed, presumably by someone who would rather settle an argument with a gun than a debate. Now, this is yet another terrible moment for America. Not quite as traumatic as the assassination of a president, perhaps, but still a dreadful symptom of the sickness that wants dissent rubbed out rather than one with reason. Societies that once prided themselves on free speech, that believed in the primacy of reason, that tried to see the good in everyone, are now far more polarised and fragmented than ever before. Partly it's loss of respect for governments and institutions, partly it's the decline of Christian faith, partly it's fear that the world is changing for the worse. But mostly it's this new attitude, particularly from people on the left, that people who you might disagree with are not just misinformed or misguided, but they're somehow morally bad. Now, this is the cancel culture that says that wrong speech shouldn't just be debated, but banished, cancelled. And of course, in America, with its gun culture, this could mean more than just deplatforming people into silence, more than just using lawfare to shut them down, but literally taking their life. Charlie Kirk was someone who refused to be silenced. He met cancel culture with courage culture. And yes, he was a political conservative. He was a MAGA activist, which inevitably meant he had hardcore critics as well as hardcore barrackers. But it can never be the victim who's blamed after something as gruesome as this. Naturally, today, the tributes poured in.
This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, there's legit nothing to say. I mean, it's rare that there's nothing to say, but there's truly nothing to say. I mean, unthinkable. Absolutely unthinkable.
Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken.
This larger-than-life figure who was a spectacular orator, who had his entire life and political future ahead of him, has been taken from us so violently in front of all of our eyes in the most disgusting and vile and jarring way possible.
In social media, being a sewer as well as a platform for ideas, well, it was there with plenty that should never have been posted, including this offensive muck from The Chaser. Whoever killed Charlie Kirk, whatever his or her motivation, well, they have now made him a martyr for free speech. Those trying to shut him down have actually amplified his voice. As my good friend Konstantin Kisin said in a post today, when you tear out a man's tongue, you are not proving him a liar. You are only telling the world you fear what he might say. This evil deed means that Charlie Kirk will speak even louder in death than in life, encouraging, I hope, more of us to be braver and better than ever before. As Ayaan Hirsi Ali said after the Islamist terrorist stormed the newsroom of Charlie Hebdo in Paris and shot dead 12, do not be cowed into silence. All of us, she said, now to speak up louder and spread the risk. So I say to all of you Conservatives watching and listening to this program, do not leave defending what we love just to the Charlie Kirks of this world. If we want something defended, if we think something deserves to be protected, then it's now on all of us to use his example and raise our voices. Because you've heard me say this time and time again. The silent majority won't stay a majority if it stays silent. To his wife and his young children, my deepest condolences on behalf of so many Australian Conservatives. In his horrifically cut short 31 years, he lived a life braver than many of us who will make old bones.